Hello. So this is week one of me filming various things that I did this week, and I actually did have loads of stuff. It was quite an active week. I don't really plan my weeks to have equal activity or amounts of traveling in them. I just book things in and go to whatever I want to or I feel is worth traveling for. At the moment, I'm not looking to standardize or change that, but also, to be honest, I don't even think I have the capacity to do that anyway, because nothing's going to wait around for me to be free to do something interesting. Yeah, I'm going to get straight into it. Like and comment if you want to, but I'm just happy to be here. So what I did notice is that now I've started this, I actually did spend more time at a screen, because even though I was filming myself, like, sitting down at the desk is the hardest part, and continuing is so much easier than starting to begin with. So I'm glad I just set up a camera and started working and then kind of forgot about it. And also, looking back at it makes me feel so much more accomplished, because I only filmed about 70% of the things I did. But it's really nice to look back on, because if you just look at it in terms of deliverables, it just felt like I didn't do that much. But at the same time, if I consider this a deliverable, it helps me understand where my time went. What did I actually do? So I had two meetings for voluntary things. One of those was in the Institution of Civil Engineers headquarters in London. Now, I'm an engineer, if you can tell. And while I was there, I took another meeting for work, and I did some work in the library, which is open to members. So that was great. I also went to a talk about new technologies in concrete, which, I'm not a consumer of these particular products, but at the same time, it is an efficiency related tech in my industry, and it's really important for me to have an awareness about it. So when I'm traveling, it basically takes up the majority of the time on these days. So in order to do any work in between things, I need to give myself really small tasks that I can easily accomplish in 1 or 1.5 hours before I need to get up and go to another place again. Also, while I was in town, I got hungry, so I went to a bakery. Okay, complete sidebar. I don't know how to edit people's faces off in videos, and there's a lot more footage, but there's just children in it, and I'm not gonna be putting people's children on the internet. And I also love a food side quest, so I'm gonna give you a whole review on this one pastry I had, and you can skip over it if you're not interested. So I got a blood orange and hazelnut pastry. There were two left, and I took the more kind of charred looking one, which I only noticed when I put it in the bag. But essentially, it's really hard to film and do stuff, especially in a tight space. And I was fumbling all over the place, and it just wasn't very aesthetic. I don't really know how these food influencers do it, because I felt really embarrassed in everyone's way. On the pastry itself, I liked the pastry. So it was really buttery, and the crunch was actually quite nice, and all of it together had a really good texture. So that I really liked. Blood orange and hazelnut are two flavors that I do like, and I'm glad that I tried them, but it's not something that I would be like, oh, this really needs to happen again. I really need to make this happen. And with the actual fillings, there was blood orange, there was roasted hazelnuts, but I thought there was going to be some type of pure sugary hazelnut puree that would kind of bind these two flavors together, but there wasn't one. I think I was thinking more almond croissant, where they have that almond paste in the center. Anyway, that wasn't there, and I think that would have been a nice addition. So now on to the evaluation of how I spent my time. It was quite different to what I would describe or what I set out as a productive week last week, and I know why that is, because I was out a lot. And I'm kind of chill with the learning journey that I'm going on here, but it would be good to set some parameters or set some practices in place so that next week I can be more productive. So the first thing I learned that actually does work for me is to just sit down and start. And also that the time I predict for how long it would take me to finish something is actually half as long as it will actually take, because even if I do the work, I like to go back and look at it again and improve it and do a second pass. And I think it gets so much better once I do it a second time. I want to give myself double the time to do each thing, and also start as early as possible. I also found that short targeted meetings work a lot better. So I've started scheduling meetings for half an hour when I used to do it for 45 minutes. I think there's also a balance between what should go in an email and what should go in a Teams meeting, but you obviously all already know this. I think if you don't know what questions to ask and you're trying to figure something out initially, you don't know that much about it, you should go for a Teams meeting. And then that, when you let the other person speak, they can tell you more about what's important to them, and it helps you like formalize a set of questions. Then you can do that in an email, and it's probably easier because someone can get back to you in their own time. And then last thing is like when I'm traveling around, that's the time when I should respond to emails. It's not really time to do like creative or productive work. So that's what I'm going to do next week. I'm going to put my client stuff, my green and blue stuff, towards the beginning of the week, get it done and out of the way, and then use my remaining time to do that other pink and orange stuff that is ending up taking me more time. So do let me know if you have any tips, or you agree with any of this, or you enjoyed it. I am gonna see you next week, and fingers crossed I can implement some of what I learned. So bye.